I still hear his voice sometimes, whispering outside my window. Little lamb, he calls me, like I'm some helpless animal waiting to be devoured. But I'm not helpless anymore. I'm the one who brought him down. It started a week after I saw what he really was. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his black eyes and that too wide smile. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know who to trust. My mom. She'd never believe me. The villagers. They loved him too much. So I kept quiet, but I watched. One night, I heard footsteps outside our house. I peeked through the window and saw him, Pastor Ezekiel. He was standing there, staring at our house like he was waiting for something. My heart raced, but I didn't scream. I just watched as he walked away, his shadow stretching long and thin under the moonlight. The next day, I decided to follow him. I waited until after church, when everyone was gone. He went into the forest behind the village, carrying a bag. I stayed far behind, careful not to make a sound. The forest was thick, and the air smelled damp and earthy. After a while, he stopped at a clearing. There was a small hut there, hidden by trees. I crouched behind a bush and watched as he went inside. A few minutes later, I heard chanting, the same strange language I'd heard that night at his house. My stomach turned, but I forced myself to stay still. When he left, I waited until he was far enough away, then I crept to the hut. The door was unlocked. Inside, it was dark and smelled like smoke. There were more black candles, their green flames flickering. On a table, I saw the book, the one with the strange symbols. I flipped through it, my hands shaking. It was filled with drawings of creatures and spells, things I couldn't understand. But one page caught my eye. It had my name on it. I didn't know what to do, so I took the book and ran. I hid it under my bed, but I knew I couldn't keep it for long. He'd come looking for it. That night, I told my mom everything. At first, she didn't believe me. But when I showed her the book, her face changed. She didn't say much, just told me to stay in the house. The next morning, the whole village was talking. My mom had told the elders, and they confronted Pastor Ezekiel. At first, he denied it. He said I was lying, that I was just a confused child. But then they searched his house and found more black candles, more strange books. When they went to the hut in the forest, they found bones, animal bones, but some looked too big to be from animals. That's when the villagers turned on him. They dragged him to the center of the village, shouting and cursing. He tried to fight back, but there were too many of them. I watched as they stripped him of his robes and tied him to a tree. His mask was gone now, no more smiles, no more preaching. His eyes were still black, and he glared at me like he wanted to kill me. But he couldn't. The elders decided to banish him. They gave him 1 hour to leave the village, and if he ever came back, they'd kill him. They burned the hut and the books, and the smell of smoke filled the air for days. It's been months now, and I still can't sleep well. Sometimes I hear his voice in my dreams, calling me his little lamb. But he's gone, and the village is safer without him. I don't know if he's still out there, or if he'll ever come back. But if he does, I'll be ready. I'm not a little lamb anymore.